Good evening.
Back again. I'm just checking something here. You caught me on the hop there, Justin. You
Well,
always catch me out off.
it used to sort of have to beach ball before it connects, but
I
it
know.
does it so instantly now. You get the 3, 2, 1 countdown, and you're there.
Well, you see, this is it. But no, how have you been? I haven't really got speaking to you a huge amount over the last few weeks.
Quite busy, so which is a good thing, but very tired as well.
I got home on Thursday night and I was absolutely shattered. Um, yeah, it was one of those get home, throw a couple of washes on. I did have an alcoholic beverage or two, and then basically just went upstairs and was just doing this until I fell asleep, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just I've been flat out, man. I just have been.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I know you have. I was working today. I had to go up today. A really nice tour today, actually. The it was down the Ards Peninsula, down had a wee. They all got Irish coffees and stuff.
Hmm.
That was quite nice, but a very weird tour last week. Lovely people. I mean, genuinely, really, really nice people. But there was a couple of weird things happening on it. I'm going to tell you something, right? This goes no further than everybody that's watching this show, right? This woman comes up to me and she says, "I left something at the last hotel." I says, "Oh, okay. This happens regularly, like, and if it is something of any importance, they ring over. And the hotel normally are quite happy to post it over to them as long as it's, you know, not a suitcase or something. But anyway, maybe I might have to pay for it, but anyway, that was okay." She says, "Oh, I've left something behind." I said, "All right, okay." I said, "Look, you'll have to ring the hotel because you know what room and stuff you're in. I don't even know what room you're in." "All right, okay. I've already done that," she says. I said, "All right. Um, I haven't heard anything back. Is there any chance that you could ring them?" And I says, "Yeah. I'll give them a ring, but I don't think I'll be able to do much more because it's either there or it's not. You know." I says, "What is it anyway?" I says, "Well, it's just a bag. It's a clear plastic bag that has well, it's got my toothbrush, my toothpaste.
It'll be in the bin.
There's a bottle of scent
Yeah.
and my husband's ashes." Uh, See, while she was talking about it, I was sitting thinking, "Oh God, this could be a sex toy, one of these rubbery things." No, she left her husband's ashes in beside the toothpaste. Of course, the housekeeper's coming in, so just pack it, throw it straight in the bin. Yeah, so that was. And I was trying to figure out a way of sugarcoating this, but her, her husband's ashes have ended up in a skip.
I know. At least he'll get to live for all eternity in Scotland, like Highlander.
Oh, he'd be buried in a landfill somewhere in the Highlands of Scotland. That's just the way she said it. There's a bag of thing sent. Oh, my husband's ashes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there wasn't really any way of sugarcoating that. So her husband's final resting place was a skip out the back of a hotel in the Highlands of Scotland. Yeah. So there you go.
Not good. Not good.
Mm.
We're in double digits already, so thanks for tuning back in. It's good to be back live.
It's good to be back
But,
live. As I say, we've had a bit of hiatus for various reasons, but we are back. We are back.
we'll
And
get to that, Frank. We'll get to that. You see
we'll
that?
get to a few hellos and whatnot in a wee minute. Aye. So what else have you been at?
I was down to Caravan Ballycastle once or twice. Haven't been to any shows. Just gearing up for this mate of mine going to the Fringe, so I've been sort of recording stuff for that and doing videos for the Fringe. If you happen to be at the Fringe in August, especially from the 18th to the 23rd, mate of mine's putting on a live show there, so I'm working on that behind the scenes, and so it's quite good.
Yeah,
So
I got the Fringe program there during the week.
yeah,
12 listings per page. Each listing has its, the number of shows that it has,
Yeah.
and there was 370 pages on it. So it just gives you an idea of the
Wow. So there's
scope
a
of
lot of people there.
uh,
Shall we bring Paul on and chat to him, or
I
shall we
bring him
do
on,
that? We'll
on
bring
a
him.
straight.
We'll
Bring
bring
him
him
on
on
a
and
straight
chat to
here.
him. He is ready. He is in the wings.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening.
Wow. Good evening.
How are we?
I'm phenomenal. How are you?
I can't complain. Tickety boo. Just busy. You know. I was working today. Had a really nice group today. Everything was fine. Got home about 6:30. Yeah. So working again tomorrow up in Belfast. I have to go and pick up some other people. So
Brilliant.
just busy. You know.
Loving the t-shirt, Marty.
Well, this I've had this for a wee while now, and well, one of the reasons. Well, there's a release tomorrow. We'll talk about that a wee bit, but yeah, I'm getting it. You know what I'm going to have? I'm going to grab myself. I've left it. Oh, he's got an old cologne. That's one of the cologne festival bottles, if less
No,
I'm mistaken.
this one here's a Christmas edition.
Ah, right. Yep.
And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to have that tonight as well
Well,
with chat.
I'm
But-
going to redrop of this, boy.
Blasphemous in a Titanic glass. Oh, a wee bit of Rowan Co.
Rowan Co. 13-year-old. You know the old port cask Bushmills
Their
one?
announcement today.
Yeah. And that was kind of why I picked it out. I'll tell you what, we'll do the news and you can comment on it as well, because you know as much about all this stuff as anybody.
Your mirror image, Paul, because it looks like Belfast Whiskey Week's on the dark side of the sun. Can you hit the wee cogwheel and put yourself the other way round?
You see below the picture, there's a row of buttons, and the one on the right is like a wee cogwheel. Hit it, and it'll come up with mirror image. If I do that, you see.
Yeah.
You switched your camera off for some reason.
Uh-oh.
We can still hear you, but you've gone into the abyss. You've gone into the black void.
Shit. 2 seconds.
But it says mirror camera. Just click that.
There you go. You're in. You're back in.
Yeah, that's better. That's us back on the land of 11.
How come you aren't down the caravan this time of year?
Well, here. Fuck the caravan. Fuck those bastards. They said my caravan was too old. It was only 10 years old, and they said it was too old. So we just went, you know what? We'll sell the caravan. So we sold it at the end of the season, really. You know. So
all right.
They told you.
Year number 1 without a caravan for the last 10 years. I'm absolutely raging. But you know what? We'll probably do something next year. Maybe get an RV caravan. But
yeah.
I was raging.
I'm sure you were. I mean, that's kind of. I know it's a bit insulting. If the thing's well kept, what the fuck difference does it make to them?
Well kept. You could sleep 12 people in it. It was just a great wee place to have, you know, and you know,
especially for the kids.
100%, the kids loved it. You know what I mean? And it's a bit strange for them not to have somewhere where they're going all the time, you know. So, kind of sad.
Yeah. No, that's a bit shit. Yeah, but as far as I've never had any comings or goings with those guys that own those caravan parks, but I've never heard anybody having good reports about any of them. You know, they're all cunts.
We'll call them out. That Hagen's Ledger, a bunch of wankers. Like, I don't give a shit what they say about me.
No, you're quite all right. You're quite all right about that. Right, we're going to do a wee bit of talking about the news. You're going to comment on this with us because they'll be interested in this. Now, news this week, news the last couple of days. Powers Court in the receivership. What was it they said at the thing? We wish to advise that Mark Degnan of Interpath Advisory Ireland has been appointed as receiver over Powers Court Distillery Limited, the company, whatever that means, on the 26th of June 2025. The distillery remains open for business to the public, and all online retail sales will be honoured and dispatched in the normal course. For any inquiries regarding the company or regarding outstanding claims, please contact PDL. It gives you an email address. This comes in the back of, let's be honest, Dublin Liberties Distillery, Waterford, Blackwater, Rowan Co have just announced that they're stopping production for a while. Middleton have stopped production. Bushmills have cut back production. Glengoyne, I saw that. Glengoyne sales have collapsed. They went down. Their profits went down from 33 million to 15. Ian McLeod Distillers. It's not looking good for the whiskey industry just at the minute.
Well, I have to. I suppose I have to be an optimist. I have to say this: it's not looking good for certain businesses who maybe aren't doing the best of business.
Yeah.
I wrote a post. I wrote a post today in one of our group chats, and I think I said, "Look, good businesses will pivot. Good businesses will make changes to their operating system. Good businesses will close down because they want to close down because it's the right thing as a business to close down.
That's fair enough.
Bad businesses anyway will shut down. That's the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
I'm interested in looking at bigger picture stuff. So you talk about the big players. So the big player to me is Ronco. There's a big player.
Yeah.
That's Diageo.
Yeah, they have the resources to do
Yeah.
whatever they like. Let's be honest.
You can look at smaller ones. You can look at Waterford. It's a smaller operation. Powerscourt, smaller operations. Dublin Liberties. These are smaller operations in comparison to a Diageo.
Everything's small in comparison to Diageo. Let's be honest.
So let's focus on Diageo for a moment, and to stop production at Diageo's Ronco facility, and to leave they're going to leave the brand home open. You can still go as a visitor. Super, and people should go because it's a phenomenal.
It's fantastic.
Phenomenal place to go and visit. But they're going to potentially relieve 5 members of staff. I think it says that in the release. That's disappointing. Laura Hemme, who would be the distiller, fantastic. She's up for one of our awards.
Yeah, she is.
Industry awards. They've got good people there. That's to me that's the news. Why would they do that? What's going on here at Diageo? Why would Diageo think that they have to do something? You touched then on Middleton again. Slowing down production, looking at potentially again. Is it that they're looking at their bottling side of the business as well? Some changes to be made. All these, they're bigger players. These are big players doing something.
Yeah.
So Diageo also have Johnny Walker.
Oh yeah.
Johnny Walker Red this in the last 12 months. They cut off the 1 litre bottles, stopped that entirely because it was making a huge loss, I believe. But they've managed to maintain their normal size bottlings, and it's doing okay for money wise. They dropped somewhere close to about 39% was it something on just the red label, but the rest of it, the black label was buoyant, kept the money, kept it coming because you get more, even though they're selling less of the black, they're getting more money for it.
Yeah,
and
it's a better product. Let's be honest. Red label. If you taste a red label 10, 15, 20 years ago, which you can you pick up at auction for 20 quid a bottle.
Yeah.
It's a much different spirit. I mean, the peat content and this is my argument. They've devalued the brand, their sort of flagship stuff, because they want to appeal to a wider audience. But basically they end up losing the people who have been there for a long time.
Yeah. No, you're right there, Marty. You're right. And look, there's big ones there. So Middleton, Diageo, these guys are making big changes. Bushmills or Jose Cuervo, big changes there because their secondary facility that they opened has not been
utilized at all, really.
Yeah, it's not been utilized properly. For us, probably not being utilized properly, but for them, again, what did I say? It's good businesses. Good businesses will make decisions.
Well, can I just interject here because I have a slightly different take on this. We all know that Irish whiskey, I mean, everybody has said this, Irish whiskey's overpriced. It just is. If you take it on the shelf in comparison to more established, and I know people don't mind paying a bit of a premium to try something a bit different, bit new, and they kind of overlook, it's an extra $5 here, an extra $7.50. That's okay. When it's double the price, people go, hang on. And the goose that laid the golden egg for Irish whiskey was Middleton Very Rare for the last sort of 5 years, right? We'll say a little bit for more than that. Say since 2016, 17, it's been boom, 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 boom. And what Middleton did was 2 years ago, they got rid of the wooden box. And this is supposed to be the pinnacle of Irish whiskey. And I know people go on about the packaging, it's not that important and all, but it kind of is when it's going to be the pinnacle product. You don't buy a luxury product and stick it in an egg box. You just don't. Plus, they doubled, maybe tripled the amount that was released and doubled the price.
Yeah.
And you're like, guys, no offense, you've basically just shot yourselves in the foot there, because from 2023 onwards, nobody's going to be collecting it, really.
The price. Well, I mean, look, that is it's an interesting one. The pricing structure is interesting. Pricing structure is really interesting across the board. What I would say is, and maybe people can go and Google check this or fact check this one, but I believe, having done a lot of research, product from the north is cheaper than the south.
Mm.
You know, which means, and I think product in the north is starting to become a little bit more on par with new product from Scotland, and I think that's interesting because there is a little bit of balancing out here between northern whiskey brands specifically and their Scottish counterparts, whereas I still believe the southern brands are still higher. Now, people can fact check that. They can go and check all these new releases and look at the price points and that. I think you'll find that, having done some research on it, that's where we're at.
And I'll tell you another thing. The free trade talks that they're talking about having with India could benefit the northern guys being part of the UK big time. So you could start seeing a bit of a split and a divide and all that. And do you really want that? Not really, but
the Irish whiskey doesn't. The Irish whiskey industry doesn't need that.
Of course they don't.
They don't need that. But I feel that, unfortunately, that the writing's there for some of these businesses. And I will continue to say this. I think the good businesses are making the choices that they have to make because they're a business.
Yeah.
So enthusiasts like me and people, whiskey enthusiasts and aficionados, all these people who love the whiskey industry, freaking out when they see a business shutting down or a business doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just need to take a breath and just realize that's a business making decisions that are best for the people who they employ.
Yeah.
Their directors, their shareholders, all those things. They're important decisions to make. We may get more decisions or more shifts between some of these distilleries that have to, shut down, and that's probably because of bad practice or it's bad management or it's bad business, and that's what's happened here. Bad business.
Yeah, I mean, there's a host of different things. I mean, the Waterford project, for example, brilliant project. Whiskey nerds loved it, up to a point. The whiskey, I mean, you're paying €70 for a bottle of 3-year-old whiskey. It was okay up to a point. People didn't mind trying it, but some of them weren't great.
Great new make, and I think longer term, a lot of that liquid that's sitting in casks.
Well, it turned out
super. I love the fact that they went down the route of, now ignoring the terroir aspect, I love that individual farms, lots of individual farms and lots of individual bottlings. I thought it was great. Was it sustainable? Not sure. And by the way, if that ever comes about again, I don't think they'll ever be in that situation where you have multiple farms and individual bottlings.
I think if they'd have done like one bottling from each farm and said, look, this is these farms and all that kind of stuff, and put that on it, I think it probably would. The costs would certainly have been a lot less. But everything that they were doing was costing money, and it was just, there's really, how do you explain that? Trying to sell that to somebody. Oh, well, here you go. By the way, this is a bottle from this, and this code in it tells you how much water fell, and there's birds singing, and you're like,
oh, we love that kind of information, though, don't we? We love it. We love.
But certain people do. Unless people have a connection with that field, there's chances are trying to flog it to them is a bit of an ask,
Look, they would have done better with a Sharpie, like, no offense. But look, let's look at Jim's points come up on screen there, and I understand where Jim is coming from on some of those things, and particularly, look, you mentioned it again, this idea of quality products, with cheap packaging and quality products with very high-end price tags. That all has to change. It has to change because it's people who are going to purchase the products in different markets need to pay at different levels, and at the moment we've not got consistency. So even with some of those really high-end brands, you look at some of the pricing and they're not consistent. And that, I would say that's from Bushmills. I would say that's from Middle. I would say there's a lot of that. They're just not consistent enough.
Well, you're not saying it's for Bushmills, but let's have a little think about Bushmills. Bushmills, pricing at the bottom end is really competitive. You know, the 10-year-old, wow, fantastic value. With Black Bush, fantastic value for money. You know, the 15, I think, is pretty good for me. Then you start heading up a bit further. They go, I know, we'll just put this up at $2,000. Hang on. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, but it's inconsistent. That's what I mean. It's inconsistent. And by the way, we cannot knock some of the Bushmills bottles are bang on.
Oh, fantastic! That's what I'm saying.
For money, value, great value.
At the bottom end, the entry sort of stuff is fucking fantastic.
And even half of that Causeway collection was good value until people started ripping the arse out of it.
Well, that's another thing.
There's something about Bushmills as well. That Bushmills have the ability, I think, to put product around the world again, move it into different spaces again, level out some pricing. But again, if you were to take the price of the Bushmills bottles, and they've got some really old bottles now coming out, isn't it? You know, bottles into the 40s. There's a potential, someone's saying even something about a 50-year-old bottle coming out at some point soon enough. If that is the case, what's the cost comparison with its southern counterparts?
Well, put it like this.
Value for money.
Well, here's the thing. They brought out the 46-year-old, and it was, what was it, 12,000 a bottle, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, the Middleton equivalent was about four times that.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah. But they should have brought it out in an egg box and released about 8 million bottles of it, and then.
But there is value there. But again, if you were to look at, and we have a great comparison. Just look across the water. Let's look at Scotland, and you look at what Bushmills is doing price wise. You look at Middleton's prices. You look at all of these other brands in the south, and even like, I think that Dunville's is kind of, has had its day in terms of high end pricing and brought itself to a level. Love it.
Yeah.
And I think they're kind of getting the pricing right there. So. They've got to look at their competitors, and if Scotland's not a competitor, I don't know what is, because it is really on their doorstep. You can look at every single type of whiskey they have, and it needs to balance out. This is a balancing opportunity potentially because of the tariffs that we will see on all sides of the all sides of the world.
Well, I mean, the whole world's going a bit crazy, but I mean, the thing about it is, if you take what we're doing versus what Scotland's doing. And there's loads of things in Scotland that you kind of go, because I'm just back there from a week and a half in Scotland, and you go to some of the distilleries there, and as I say, Glengoyne released their stuff, and their information saying that the profits have halved, and their sales are down, turnovers down, and that's going kind of across the board. Whereas the new starts over there, your likes of your Loch Lees, your Ardnahoe and all that kind of stuff, are doing really well. I mean, Loch Lee you get it everywhere. It's really well received, very reasonably priced. It's a single farm whiskey, so you're always going to play a bit of a premium, and that's fine. But I mean, they're selling shitloads of stuff, and they're now stopped doing the seasonal ones that they released. But they've been doing really well because they've been pricing it right and aiming to get the sales. And you kind of think, I can see how that's going to work. I mean, the guys. Some of the stuff that's been going on here, Jameson even announced that they had declined. Their sales are down 3% or something, which,
Yeah, I don't know. I think, let's look at positive news. Jura up 119%. You know what I mean? Go on the Jura.
Why? Come on.
There's a starting point. There was a long period in time when Jura were getting absolutely hammered for being shite. The whiskey wasn't great. I mean, if you went back to the late 70s, 80s, the 80s products coming from Jura, spot on. Kind of went through that period of, the early 2000s that maybe the whiskey just wasn't tasting great. So I think they've now got themselves in so many supermarkets at so many levels.
Yeah.
They're starting to sell, product, and they're selling at very, very inexpensive, compared to its counterparts on the shelves, cheap. So it's making money. Yeah. But look, Jim's making some good points. I'm loving Jim's feedback here because, and he's probably quite right. We do have it's inconsistency across the entire, island. We're not doing it well.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with the stuff Hinchcliffe have released. Really reasonable prices. They want an awful lot of fans coming up at Christmas. I mean, we've said that loads of times. I mean, the stuff they released before Christmas was like fucking happy days. That's a Christmas bonus.
Mhm.
But their own malt coming out, as Jim said, it's 32 quid. Locally, £40. Our draft is looking like £80 for a core release bottle.
Yeah, look, I don't even know the price of our draft, and that's silly, isn't it? I don't know the price of it, but what I would say is it tastes great. Daft, but it does taste great. So I don't know the price yet. But if Jim's telling me it's because it's in his shop, and he will know that, you know, in the front of hand, that's the price. So what's the issue here? How do we make it known to the brands that we're wanting to try and that want to buy? Can we get a price that is suitable? You know, and it's maybe for the consumer to continue to say that. But again, there's other things that we're not seeing? There's costs that are implied.
I mean,
building a new distillery.
The consumer, when he's picking the bottle off the shelf, he's not, you know, he or she is not that interested in the whole. The backstory is one thing, but as soon as you walk in and you go, oh, that's £80 and that's £30, I'll go with the £30 one. You know, I mean, £50, there's a big gap. If it's a £10 gap, fair enough. 50 quid, come on. I mean, that's. And
so if Hinch put has Hinch thrown all the pigeons in and the cats are just going, what the fuck? I mean,
but the thing is, what you're saying there,
the cat amongst the pigeons is the pigeons amongst all the cats, mate.
I mean, you're saying about our draw. I mean, I got a taste of Jim's stuff. Was it last year? And you know, whenever you're nosing something, and you could just feel your face smiling. Honestly, it was just one of those. It was like, that's awesome. I mean, just fantastic stuff. Anyway, right, we're going to move on because we talk about something else.
Jura's not Tello, by the way.
It's not great.
It's not fucking great. Now.
But why are you not up ghostbusting at McConnell's? That's what they're doing tonight. Ghostbusting in McConnell's distillery. I suppose I better can't sing in case I better not sing as the Ghostbusters. That's what they're doing. They're good. So Shadowhunters Northern Ireland are teaming up with McConnell's from 8 o'clock to 12 tonight. So they'll be halfway through it, scaring the shit out of themselves.
And by the way, can I just say something? Marty, that might look like complete bullshit for most people if they read that. But I tell you not, see if you go down below into that tunnel that leads right across the road into the courthouse, you would shit your knicknacks.
Oh no,
there are things going on in that tunnel.
You can just see Graham behind the thing. Right, are the bastards in you? Turn the light on. No, you know, but I mean, it is
supernatural stuff. They've had people in before. They've done all the wee tests. I mean, they've done the test. It's
a real scary place.
Yeah,
I know somebody had their police dog, and the dog wouldn't go in. It started to bite them whenever he tried to take the dog in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, freaky stuff like.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that's a new concept. You know, we get all the Ghostbusters in.
But how many distilleries do we have? You know, that can have this kind of eccentric.
Exactly.
Do you know I mean, that has this really interesting. I mean, on the wing of the McConnell's distillery, the wing of that jail, suffragettes. Do you know I mean?
Yeah.
You've got plenty of people from the troubles here. You know, from both sides. You know, who were housed there. Lots of people who were then sent away on ships. You know, what I mean, people...
even the stories. I mean, there'll be loads and loads and thousands of stories about stuff that happened that never got out. People never mentioned stuff, and it is creepy enough place. But I love the idea of Sarah around me, you know, with a big box on, looking for Marshmallow Man. You know, just happens people out with a vacuum cleaner or whatever.
No, man, I wouldn't want to be there at night time distilling. Like, I would not want to be there by myself.
I saw that during the week and I had to laugh. I kind of thought, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a weird thing, but it's cool. It's cool as fuck.
You know what? Businesses doing good business. This is diversity, isn't it? That's what we're talking about here. Look, can some of these businesses do other things? McConnell's Distillery is a prime example of
thinking outside the box.
Yeah, but because at the moment they're a distillery, yes, but their visitor centre are doing really well there. But they're actually doing lots of different types of events. They run like a market ever so often, like a street market, which comes into the distillery, takes over the place. You know, they've had chess club nights in there, champion chess matches. We're doing in the festival a Dungeons and Dragons night, which sold out, by the way, very quickly.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
And you know, it's an amazing space to do lots of different cool things.
It's the way they have it done out, laid out is cool as fuck. You know, whenever you walk in, it is automatically go, wow. I can't say enough. That's those sculpted girders that they've put in.
Mhm,
Just
mhm.
look, boom, perfect. Really, really cool. But no, good on them because. But you see, as is again down in Titanic, they're doing like painting nights
Yep.
and all that kind of stuff. And
Vinyl nights aren't,
arts.
the dance nights. They've
I was trying to I was trying to remember what the dance. That was a dance night. That was it.
dance. So they've had rave nights. They've got the vinyl nights. They've got the Jesus. They have a like they've done like drama. They've like had like theatre in there. They've done again.
And
It's a
the two
fun.
distilleries in Belfast. The two distilleries in Belfast are unique spaces in and of themselves.
Mhm.
The distilleries, the distilleries is one thing. It's one aspect of the place, but the actual spaces are fantastic, and it's just such a cool thing to be able to do. Do different things, do all these different bits and bobs.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, if you're building, I mean, Jim points out again, if you're creating a new distillery,
Mhm.
we have new distilleries open up all the time. If you're creating a distillery, you need to think about its potential to be, something more than just a distillery. If you feel that the market and the industry that you're in isn't, is buoyant or isn't working at the moment, and you want to you've still got time because 3 years before you get your whiskey anyway.
Yeah.
So what can you do? So if you're creating a new distillery, is it worthwhile looking at what McConnell's and Titanic did, which look at really old buildings and repurpose them? Because
Yeah.
the pump house is a phenomenal building.
It is.
Titanic. You could take the distillery out of that and have, again, a phenomenal building with lots of history, heritage, and space that you could do lots of cool things.
I think it's just really cool that both of these guys have built in listed buildings, and people I don't think appreciate the complexity of getting those done. I mean, I know Peter and whatnot down in Titanic. I mean, they could barely drill a hole in the wall without somebody having to come down and inspect it because it's all these different layers. With, it's a scheduled monument and a industrial preservation order and all that stuff on it, and they're like, but still they build a factory. Which distillery is essentially a factory inside the thing. It's amazing.
And for everyone who looks at Titanic, because it's really interesting, whenever you see pictures of the Titanic from the outside, it just looks like this maybe 2-story building. And then you don't realise it's actually 5 stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the mash tuns down in the bottom. And it's nuts.
It's a massive big space. And rightly so, if you go in, what I love about that building, right? And look, I'm looking forward to the whiskey when it gets here. Right?
Yeah, Damien's going to do good stuff.
Let's just look at the building. The building has all the stuff from the pump house.
Oh, and they're all still sitting primed. I mean, theoretically, you could turn them on and go.
I think if you get the power turned on and you get things cylinders moving, these things could work. If you need the dry dock, no longer to be dry. I mean, we get the water back in. They're fantastic. I'm glad that McConnell's is doing something like that.
I think it's cool. I think it's cool. I'll grumpy Jim. Do you remember when halcyon days when distilleries just made whiskey? Jim, move with the times, man. Move with the times, okay? You want disco dancing in distilleries? You want paranormal activity running about round? Whenever you want all this kind of shit. Right? This is the future, Jim.
But Jim makes a point. I mean, again, Jim's not making he's not making a bad point. He's making a very good. Distilleries the purpose of the distilleries to make whiskey. Again, I said this: good businesses will make decisions and pivot.
Yeah.
So I think that's a continuous conversation here because I've heard so much negative shit in the last year, 2 years, really. I mean, I hear it all the time because see, running this festival, it's not fucking easy, right? It's not easy, and all I hear is, "Oh, we can't do that. We don't have a budget for this anymore. We don't have staff to do this. We don't hear that." So we get hit with brick walls as a constant, and it's a constant brick wall from lots of distilleries who are troubled, who are in the position that they're worried about things. Budgets have shifted, completely shifted. People who might have had a bit of control no longer has control, has to go like 3 or 4 steps above them to get an answer. So I hear it all the time. And that's why I'm saying I believe that good businesses are making the right choices for their business. For someone who owns his own businesses elsewhere, not inside the whiskey industry, elsewhere, I have to make decisions all the time. And I get it. It's not easy, right? But I'm going to say this, and this is a wee bit of a dig at the whole entire industry, and that's not just here in Ireland, it's in Scotland, it's everywhere else. When people like myself or Richard over in England running English Whiskey Fest,
Yeah, nice
or
guy.
or if it's Laurie doing something in Cork, or if it's Ali McAlpine doing something, Dublin Live, or if it's whoever it is, Andrew doing something, Whiskey Socials, all over, whoever these people are that are doing things, and they're independent of the industry specific. Do you know what I mean? They're not distilleries. They're not they're doing something for the industry. Have the gumption, first of all, to have the conversation about what's going on. Talk to them, be honest, be open. Do you know what I mean? Have those conversations. And remember, first of all, our festival's 7 years old. We've been here for 7 years. We'll be here for, going forward. Your brand, potentially, even though they're stopping just now or they're not thinking about it today, maybe, wants to be there in 3 or 4 years' time. So remember these events, okay, be it whiskey tastings or festivals or whatever it is that's going on, like they are here to support you as much as you potentially can support them. And that's annoyed me the last couple of years, where people have given, they're brick walls, but they're not just brick walls based on their circumstance that they're in just now. Sometimes we have brands who don't sell to Northern Ireland or don't sell to people in Northern Ireland. That's absolutely fucking bullshit. If I hear another Scottish brand tell me they don't sell to people in Northern Ireland, I don't know what I'll do. Blow them up or something. And it's ridiculous. And particularly when I have to turn around and say, you sell it in Asda, you sell it in Sainsbury's.
You'll be getting kneecap. Don't be saying you'll blow them up. Don't be saying you'll blow them up.
Kneecap them.
You know what the Scottish police are like. You know what they're like.
Send you music tonight. We're going to send some kneecap. No, but in all seriousness, that's frustrating. It's frustrating, and it's frustrating because we have them from Scotland, but we also have them from the south. People say, we don't sell in the north. Do you not? No, can't get it in Irish malts. Can't get it in whiskey. Celtic Whiskey Shop. Can't get it in Whiskey Exchange. Can't get it in Amazon. You're all talking shite.
I think so many believe their own hype, if you know what I mean. They get this. They've got they could have the best product in the world, but if you don't allow people to buy it at a reasonable cost,
do they not know people nip into the off license at Morrison's in Stranraer on the way over here and buy stuff?
Listen, honestly, the conversation. It was a great conversation I had one day with a very big, massive, super-sized Scottish distillery. Right, can't even name it because it would be very unfair. And I said, blah blah, Whiskey Fest. So it'd be nice if you came over. Blah blah. The straight up response was, we don't sell in Northern Ireland. And I said, look, I don't want to be a dick. I says, but you definitely sell in Sainsbury's, Tesco, and Asda. And we have them all in Belfast. I mean, I'm sure there's loads out around the place, but we definitely have them in Belfast. And they went, oh, no, I didn't know we did that. Yeah. And I was like, well, maybe you want to go and find out where you distribute,
Yeah, but I mean, some of the Scottish guys are that big that they don't actually realise they sell shitloads of stuff.
But they don't care. And I'm not saying Northern Ireland's a big market for Scottish whiskey, but I tell you what, I drink Scottish whiskey. I know you do, Murray. I know listen to this. There's some guy on here just now saying he was drinking an Arbor. So I mean, fair play. No, I mean, people drink Scottish whiskey. This is a fact,
Put it like this: there's lots of people drink lots and lots and lots, shitloads of Scottish whiskey.
Adrian McLaughlin, yes, 100%. We totally understand that. Totally understand that, and I understand that entirely. Do you know what really gets me? It's the return on time, staffing, the cost of liquid, everything, all those things. 100%.
Yeah,
and that we totally get that. Which is why, when we talk to brands, and particularly for my festival, just to make it quite clear, I don't know about the other guys, but we're either really accommodating or like super supportive, i.e. we'll make sure things can happen. So like we're there for
carrying untold amounts of favour with the consumer that attends the festival.
Well, I mean, put it like this. You sometimes it's hard to measure what you get immediately. But if you don't put yourself out, if you don't say that you're there, nobody's going to go looking for you. Nobody really goes looking for. And okay, you may be talking to you like yourself, or you're talking to Jim or something that at a certain level. They go, "Oh, I tried this fantastic, really, really cool thing." Blah 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 blah. But I'm one guy, or you're talking to one person. You need to be putting yourself out there to let people know you're there. I mean, there's a couple of.
Yeah. Look, I think a prime example of a brand, or brands or whatever it is that really do well is like John Holton, for example, say Tasmanian, transportation whiskey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why does it keep coming back to Belfast? Why does it keep coming back to Ireland?
Do you mean this? Do you mean this that I bought at the festival last year?
Tell me why he keeps coming back.
Well, very simply, because this is a fabulous product.
Well, the product is, but
And he's coming back to let people know that it's a fabulous product.
And he gets support, and the people
Absolutely.
And the people want to come to the tastings. They want to taste it. They want to see what's going on. There's something there. Like I'm going to say this, right? So I have to say it about the personalities we now have in Irish whiskey. Personalities are really important.
Yeah.
If I pick 4 people just now, and even just say them, Charlotte Watson,
yeah,
personality, goes out there and chats about Ecklinville and Dunvilles,
and a genuinely nice guy,
and everyone loves him.
Everybody loves him.
You buy into him. You can buy into this guy, personality-wise, 100%. Brendan Carty, could you have met more of someone who is totally obsessed with his own product and the industry? And again, you fall in love with the guy.
Passion beats everything. Always time. Always, every time.
Gareth Irvin is doing exactly the same now at Copeland. Now, I would say, I'm going to hope he doesn't hate me for this, I'd have said he was quite quiet in the first couple of years.
Yeah.
And now he's not. He's on the chat. He's on the thing. He's totally on it. You know what I mean? He's all about it. So, you know what I mean? And again, I probably would say this, if we're going to look at likes of, and I probably should couple them together, the likes of Liam and Shane, the two of them together.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know Donal did a lot of hard grafting also, but when you look at the personalities in these brands, putting themselves out there, making it happen. I'm going to say this. This is the back end of this. Watch this space.
Mm-hmm.
There's all those little brands, little people doing really well. But fuck me, look at Diageo with Ronco.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, other than what we know, a couple of the guys who work there, and have put in heart, where's the personality?
I have to agree with it. I mean, to be honest with you, in terms of a brand ambassador, I sort of take Sarah at McConnell's as the sort of gold standard. She was unbelievably passionate, out there all the time, really hard working, knew the product, knew it really well, and was fantastic for the product. I think she was amazing for it. But that's one of them. She's the gold standard in my opinion because she just was fantastic for them. But yeah, there's only one of her. But there's no reason in the world that there's other people who aren't. I mean, Jarlath has been fantastic for Dunvilles. He's such a nice guy, really helpful, really nice. Just a cool guy. He just is. He's such a nice guy.
But it's now backed up by Seamus Ogue.
Again, Seamus is a nice fella. Really nice.
Super enthusiastic. Yep. Really, really buzzing.
And knows his stuff.
Believes in the brand. Believes in the product. Do you know what I mean? Wants everyone to understand what he knows and what he loves. So I think there's definitely some brands that are held back because of the people who are in front of them. And they're not, sometimes a brand is maybe just a brand. Maybe it's just for the supermarket. Maybe it's just for the masses. Maybe it's not for anything else. But I do believe that the brands that we have worked with over the last 7 years, every single brand we've worked with, no matter what, I have been excited when someone within that business is passionate enough to come and be forthright, get talking about it, want to be involved. Do you know what I mean? Really want to be involved. And the ones that keep coming back year after year are the ones that have those passionate people who fucking, I've got Dave, Cummins coming back up from Dingle. Could you have any more enthusiastic man? Do you know what I mean?
Big hairy Dave.
Drives all the way from Dingle.
I know.
After he's milked his fucking cows or something. to come
I think that big man must be eating the cows like Desperate Dan, for fuck's sake. He's a big lump of a lad.
He is, but he'll travel up and down the country. It works hard. Sarah has busted her balls from a car.
Absolutely.
Let's be honest there. Do you know what I mean? We've got people who we're going to miss. We're going to miss Stephanie Shane from Dublin Liberties. I don't know what's going on there with her and where she's going to be at. We're going to miss someone like her potentially. You've got people, again, you could take big personalities. Billy Layton's a big personality. These people are, you've got Dave McCabe now, someone interested in at Middleton. You've got people who are always there. I want to see consistency. I want to see people having love and showing love for their product. And sometimes they don't have the resources. So sometimes They don't have the people. They don't have the resources. The marketing budgets aren't there.
But not everybody's
I feel a
Diageo.
lot of people.
Not everybody's Diageo, mate. You know.
I feel a lot of people. A lot of people miss that. Like I see it all the time, which is why I
Yeah.
understand it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. Like I'm not like criticism. It's not a criticism. It's me understanding it.
But I mean, the thing is, Diageo. Ever since Rowan Cole came on the scene, I've been sitting thinking, they haven't really pushed it, and I think Diageo have kind of went, well, we need an Irish whiskey, but we don't really know what we're doing with it. We've got this. We've set up a beautiful distillery, got some lovely products. I mean, that's a fucking cracker whiskey there. Done some interesting stuff, but not really sure what to do. And that was always a bit of a thing in the back of my head that if Diageo don't know what they're doing with Irish whiskey, then if they don't, who the hell else is going to know what they're doing? Because let's be honest. I mean, in terms of the drinks industry, there isn't anybody even comes close to them. And whenever you think of all the brands and all the stuff that they do and all the market leading products that they sell, if they're not 100% sure what they're doing with the Irish whiskey, well, maybe a lot of bit part players are. I say bit part. That's maybe doing them a disservice, but the small time players, they're going to struggle big time, and it's sort of coming to fruition now. You know.
Yeah, and I think we'll see more of the South. Southern brands more than the northern brands will find themselves in a lot more difficulty because you have way more brands in the South.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Like,
We'll put it this. Let's talk about another one here.
Sorry.
Hawks Rock Distillery, which I'm still not 100% convinced with the name.
Say it again quickly.
Hawks Rock. Hawks Rock.
Well, the fact you can say it's really important. Hawks Rock.
Hawks Rock.
I think it comes across quite quickly. It's very Americanized for me.
It's a very American name.
You know,
but they've brought out their new first release for the Hawks Rock Distillery, the Garavogue, which I'm kind of looking forward to getting a try of, because it's Helen being allowed to do what she really wants, and she's moved away from the. I like what she said whenever she said she moved away from the sherry bomb stuff. She wants to put complexity into it, moving away from it's sherry, so it's all sweet and blah blah blah. Yeah. So this will be a nice one. Now I know it's limited. It's limited edition for Sazerac, so there's probably about 40,000 bottles of it. But I don't think people sometimes appreciate just the size that Sazerac as a company is. And the whole project down there is, I mean, that's a long-term project. They've invested a lot of money, and they're big-time players who seem to have, right, okay, we'll just take it easy. We've bought paddies, we've done this, we're going to do this, we'll release this. Take it easy, we're not in any big rush.
No.
I think they're going to do really well in the States because they'll have all the distribution. Okay, this is a €200 bottle of whiskey, €190 bottle, whatever it is. But they're someone everybody else could piggyback on. They're someone that could put some product on the shelf, stand up and say, "This is what we're going to do." They've got Helen there, who's, let's be honest, she's a genius.
So let's look at a couple of things, right? So let's look at a couple of things. First of all, I'm not 100% sure where the name Garavogue comes from, and it's and again, I missed the launch event down in Dublin, which I was disappointed.
Yeah, I'm seeing. I was working.
However, let's look at it. So I don't know. Garavogue to me doesn't scream Hawks Rock, so I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something there, right? But second of all, it's a 20-year-old single malt. Complex, has multiple casks that are being used to create this product. The price is probably, if you looked at other 20, 21-year-old products out there, it's probably cheaper than most. You know what I mean?
But I guess it's there or thereabouts, you know.
It's cheaper than Redbreast 21. It's cheaper than Redbreast 21. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is it not? So, I mean, it's... Or is it? You know, but you know, it's
there or thereabouts, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's not overly expensive. I think, to be honest, I'm more keen, and I generally am a massive fan of Helen, so I'm more keen to see the techniques and the distilling that will come directly from that distillery.
Yeah,
and that's her leading that charge.
Yeah,
they have Paddy. I think Paddy could have different different opportunity there to move into different styles.
I've said this for a while. I think once they pull the trigger on Paddy and put it up, as their a whiskey, proper whiskey in the States, put it in shelves and all the distribution, it'll go from being a non-entity to being second or third biggest Irish whiskey. But okay, they're not going to catch Jameson anytime soon. But you can see it just going boom straight up there, real quick. And this release, the Carnival, again, it's limited edition, but it's limited edition for Sazerac, and Sazerac are a massive company. So it'll be interesting to see what it's like, and I hope that goes really well. Because
I think they will do. Look, I think it's a distillery, huge big facility, by the way.
Oh, massive!
A great opportunity to do so much with that piece of land, and for the local community down there. I think it's going to be great. I believe that the team they have behind them, superb. Superb. So they'll do great stuff. And Jim again is making this point. He's saying, is it not safe to say that Irish whiskey is still in its infancy? 100%. Of course it is, Jim. In the scheme of things, then. So I feel that it's trying to get ahead of itself sometimes. Sadly, we won't succeed. I actually don't think like that. I actually feel that it's in its infancy. Yes. Is it trying to go beyond? I think it's maybe run a couple of times and then tripped, and it's definitely tripping right now. It's tripping a couple of times. A couple of these businesses are definitely tripping because you cannot run. You cannot throw your prices out there to the consumer and not have some sort of kickback. Kickback is, look, Waterford was a good one. You sell your bottles at retail 80 quid a bottle. When they hit an auction price, where auctions came back down to 30, 40 quid a bottle, the loss through auctions were unreal.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in that space, but let's imagine that we're not even in that space and we're sending out Irish liquid at 3 years old to 4 years old at 80 quid a bottle out to other parts of the world, and that's their first taste of whiskey at that price.
Mm-hmm.
When you could get 2 bottles potentially of Redbreast, so 2 bottles of Redbreast in Australia versus 1 bottle of Waterford, for example, say wherever it was, and you're just like, hold on a minute, Redbreast is the bestest, no matter what everyone thinks. A 12-year-old bottle of pot still for that price.
Yeah.
And no, I might taste better pot still.
Oh,
well, the guys out there doing some great pot.
Of course,
still. But for the price, man,
and accessibility. I mean, it's important because the other stuff you have to hunt that down. You might have to go, right, okay, can I get, right, hang on, postage for that from where I'm going to buy it from and all that kind of stuff. Whereas you walk into a shop, Redbreast's there. And it's very hard to turn around and say that Redbreast cask strength isn't a phenomenally good whiskey. It really is. And it's accessible. Cask strength's a bit harder to get, but it's not that hard to get normally. Redbreast 12, you walk and pick it off a shelf. And that's about that too. You turn around and say, well, right, it's Monday. Get something for the weekend. Monday night, I'm going to order it online, get it. Hopefully, it comes on Thursday. I get a drink out of it on Friday when I finish work, or they just stop at the supermarket on the way home. Do you know what I mean?
It's accessible, and it's like and again for the new revolutionists out there, the revolutionist whiskey drinkers and the whiskey makers, all those people, they want to see a change in the way in which we create pot still style. And that's grand because here I'm seeing lots of great pot still and I'm tasting lots of great pot still, lots of different types of pot still. But until we get a pot still that is the price point of a Redbreast 12, and because a Redbreast 12, even though the consistency has been good recently, I mean, it could dip. I mean, we don't know, but consistency in the taste of Redbreast has been good. I like it. The majority of people who taste Irish whiskey for the first time and it's a Redbreast 12-year-old like it. It's not a Marmite whiskey.
No, it's not.
Like or you dislike. It's really like it.
It's a good quality, really nice, well made, and very, very reasonably priced 100%. Whiskey.
And so I'm like, listen, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
There's good price points. I mean, there's some good, that's some good kind of bar that you can set and say where it's at. Now, I understand again. I'm not going. Can't be criticizing the pot still makers right now, and it's an expensive process. And I was down at Bowan the other day, and I was very fortunate. Lorcan and his whiskey club from Dundalk went down to Drogheda and down to Bolan, and they're going to be a pot still distillery. That's what they've said. Look, we're pot still. Super. Then at some point, do we see a price war between the two? Because they're going to be this. By the way, create a shitload of pot still. So if they're going to be in a position, is there pot still, which I think is of high quality, really good taste and stuff, and multiple. I've tasted it in different casks and different forms. Man, some of the stuff's really, really good, but pricing.
Yeah,
they are not in the same league as this Redbreast collection. Do you know what I mean? Now go and it's going to take them. Well, sure, it'll take them 27 years before they have a 27-year-old to compete. It'll take 12 years before we get the 12-year-old. But you know what I mean? It's not going to be for the consumer.
And again, Bowan is doing really interesting things. Really
Big time.
I mean, that stuff, the vintage mash bill stuff, that's a genius move. That what they did with Fanon, making that stuff is just fantastic. I mean,
you're looking forward to my 10 releases at the end of the year, are you?
I don't even know about your 10 releases at the end of the year.
So that vintage mash bill. So there was 10. There was 10. Or there was really 12 done, but 10 went out to the public. I bought all 10 mash bills, and we have a release here in end of December, beginning January kind of time. They all become 5 years old at that point.
Yeah,
release all 10 to the people who supported that project. So that'll be interesting. And they are. Taste wise, some of them are really interesting. Really.
Well, I mean, I think the whole project's fantastic. It really is. It really is. Right, next up, because we have to get talking to your festival for fuck's sake. We're on an hour already. Celebrity whiskies. Where do you stand on celebrity whiskies? Because we've won this week. Now,
fuck, have I missed something? Who?
Richard Hammond. Top Gear.
Is he still alive?
Oh, well, he's banged himself about a bit, but he's still alive.
Oh, remember he gets smashed right up?
Oh, he smashed about half a dozen times. Yeah. It's a miracle he's allowed to fucking drink. But he's got one out now. And I did a bit, when I saw this the other day, and I kind of thought to myself, what the fuck's he doing? So it's with Hawk Ridge. Do you know anything about Hawk Ridge Distillery? English distillery?
Iron Ridge, Hawk Ridge, no.
Iron Ridge, Hawk Ridge. I'd looked this up, and
no, it's
their own stuff. It's their own liquid. Royal Berkshire single malt. Blah blah blah. £43 a bottle for their single malt. £35 a bottle for their blend. And you go. The first thing that hit me was, that seems fair enough. I might just buy a bottle.
What's wrong with the pricing there?
Might just buy a bottle of that to try it.
How much is Hammond's though? Hammond's looks sexy.
It's not coming out until September. But the thing about it is, and then I thought to myself, these fucking celebrity endorsements. That's how I got to know about this. And you're like, why the fuck did I not know about this before?
I'd never heard of that brand.
Do you know what I mean? But it's one of these ones you go, I might actually buy a bottle of that just to try it because it's only 40 quid a bottle.
Yes. And why would you not?
And then you fall into that. I've been caught by the celebrity fucking trap again. Mate. But as I say, everybody needs a bit of a hook. But it's reasonably priced, which is you go, oh, dear, all right, I'll maybe give that a word.
Who's your man at Muff? Who was the man at Muff?
Oh, that's Ronan Keating and Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe, and your man and your comedian. Would you call your comedian was there as well?
Oh,
Alan.
Ryan Turbiddy was there.
Aye, that's him.
What the? Look, you're asking the question. What do I think about celebrity endorsements or celebrity products like this? This is interesting because, I feel if you get the wrong celebrity, the brand can go south very quickly. Now,
you're not going to release Jimmy Savile for a single malt or something, right? They'll just cut it at that.
Okay,
but you've got that prick McGregor. He done all right.
Oh, hold on. He did all right, but we've now got he's away, is he, or is he not? He's gone. But we've now got multiple styles of Proper 12. There's multiple styles of Proper 12 now. There's not just the one. There's multiple styles. We're doing batches now of certain Proper 12s. Rod Stewart, is it Rod Stewart just done something?
Oh, Wolfie.
Yeah,
he's brought Wolfie out.
We've got lots of these guys doing stuff.
But they're like perfumes. Everybody's getting one, right?
Yeah, but why not? No, see, so my thing is, right, I don't give a fucking shit. And I don't care. Well, my issue would be if it was a celebrity that, that's, it shouldn't be involved in anything like that anyway. If there's like, some sort of like dodginess about the person already, then I'd like to think that people don't go into business with them. However, mate, why not? Everybody can have,
Oh,
I would like to see it. I'd like to see, like, celebrities doing it, because you know what? Like you said, you maybe didn't hear about these guys. They've said something, now you hear about it and you're like, oh, right, now, who are they? But it's probably a one-off. It's a one-off bottling.
probably.
I would think that when you do a one-off bottling and you sell it, well, that was on you. Good people to talk about. Jerry Armstrong. So Jerry Armstrong,
Great guy. And
yeah,
the
lovely
fact,
guy.
the
Northern
fact
Irish
he
footballer.
signed every fucking
Yep,
ball.
hand signed. Lovely guy. Jerry Armstrong, Northern Ireland footballer, absolute legend. Big
Yep.
Gaelic player as well, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
back in the day. But he was like, he went out, did it in conjunction with Titanic, and it's a one-off product. That's the
Yeah.
end of that. Super good on him. If you looked at, Van Damme then, Van Damme. Van Damme's now, I think he's had a wee bit of problem recently, with the law recently.
Has he? I'm surprised at this.
Well, anyway.
Imagine.
Look, he's not like, for me here, is he one of the most famous people in the world of Hollywood? Yes, he is. And has he done something? Maybe it's because it's an investment thing.
No, he was going to use the money to open an animal sanctuary in Australia. So,
Something
I mean, so let's get this. Let's just run this through. You've got a Belgian ballet dancer turned martial art film guy, right? Who
action hero. Come on.
action hero, who decides to set up an Irish whiskey, launches it from Belfast to set up an animal sanctuary in Australia, and then people go, okay, and even it's the 3-year-old is Jim literally took the word out of my mouth because he's put it in capital letters. It's bloody awful. It's undrinkable. That's how bad it is. And I can normally.
He's also saying, every time saying that he doesn't want me to talk about. He doesn't want me to talk about anything nice about these celebrity people. I get it, but I understand why people don't want celebrities involved. I get it, but I don't care. I believe actually that it's just like anyone else. So let's look at the boys, Whiskey and White, the two boxers. They did a bottle with cologne, one-off bottling. There it was, done.
Yeah.
I mean, are they celebrities? I'm not sure. They're sporting people. Now, another one would be interesting is your man, Carl Frampton. Because it seems that Carl Frampton, he wants his own line of spirits, whether or not it's just whiskey. It's the House of Jacko. I mean, the conversations I had with his partner was it was going to be vodkas and gins and other products. So, look, I really don't have an issue with it. I mean, let them do what they're doing, because, again, they can highlight whiskey.
You see,
they're highlighting the category.
I'm not. I mean, forever. I mean, if I had a brand and I set up a whiskey and Russell Crowe, sorry, come over, Russell Brand. No, Russell Brand. Will forget about him. Sorry, that was a slip of the tongue, right? Which probably is what Russell Brand's going to get prosecuted for. But anyway,
that's what he said. It was a slip of the tongue.
Russell Crowe came along and said, "Listen, give me 25% of the company and I'll promote it."
How's that?
Fair enough. There you go. No problem at all. Big lad, get
only 25%.
Get your fucking sword out there. Get running down the thing there with your gladiators thing on, and we'll get sold. I mean, it's a no-brainer. But there's certain celebrities you go, you've absolutely fuck all input in any of this. I mean, Van Damme, you're Ricky Gervais. I'm not convinced by him doing any of the stuff that he's doing, that one. And there's a few other ones. I mean, I just find it a bit odd.
Ricky Gervais, his one's actually quite funny. Like, so if you ever watch any advertising for it, it's actually a lot of shit going on there. But look, no, do you know what? If they're not doing any harm, and I mean they're not bringing the industry into disrepute.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of them that brought the industry into disrepute. If they're not doing that, fair game. It's just like any, it's just like anyone wanting
any advertising, really.
Yeah, and also they're supporting, no doubt, they're supporting financially these distilleries. So whether or not anyone cares about it, I care about the fact that people are in jobs, that they're getting the opportunity to to make whiskey, you know, and that there's still a distillery there. Do you know what I mean? I'm just saying that, you know, they obviously are supporting it financially, you know.
Well, right, here's the next one. Next thing.
Yes, Jim, I totally agree. Of course they could. I mean, Van Damme probably knows a lot about, you know, martial art gear. Maybe he could, like, you know,
or
martial art gear.
Possibly. He hinted, or
But
allegedly.
was he not the face of Coors Lager for a long time?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's not the only stimulant he's ever took in his life. I've just hazarded that out there. That whiskey's possibly not the only stimulant he's ever took in his life. I'm just saying that. Japanese whiskey. Japanese whiskey have come out with the kite mark. This is the mark you're going to see on Japanese whiskies if they're made in Japan, apparently. Now,
So not Kool-Aid product, no?
No. But also not Ben Nevis or any of that kind of stuff.
No, right, okay.
But what you're supposed to do with this now is they can't legally force whiskies to put it, but they're patented, they're trademarking this. So Japanese whiskey, if it's made in Japan, will be allowed to use this.
Okay.
So Suntory have said that they're going to start phasing this in by the end of the year. So what that's telling me is that some of the product they're still putting on is basically some of it's made in Scotland and some of it's made in Ireland, whatever. So this is going to be a non-legally binding. You don't get this unless they allow you to have it. So it's a separate trademark that's overlooking this. So if you see this on a bottle, it tells you it's made in Japan. It's not.
You know what?
Can I ask the question? Why is it not like the Rising Sun mark? Why is it like it looks like a brand that you would put in a cow?
No, it looks like the top of a whiskey barrel.
Yeah, to me it just looks.
I suppose it does with the staves around it. It does, but it doesn't look like.
To me, it looks like something that would be there.
Yeah,
you know.
But I know what you're saying. Yeah, I mean they could go full on Japanese and put a big red sun on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's also in English, which is quite telling. Because what it tells you is the Japanese don't give a fuck. They couldn't really care less. It's only people like us that actually care.
No, but there's look, it might create a little bit more clarity. You know, in terms of, you know, instead of second guessing where the whiskey is coming from, because we know that whiskey was traveling from parts of Europe to Japan and being, you know, labeled as Japanese, potentially maybe teaspooning, maybe just not teaspooning, maybe just maturing and then bottling. So it is what it is. I've never actually had an issue with it. And again, this comes down to I don't have an issue if Irish whiskey is bottled in Scotland. You know, I don't care. I mean, there is Scottish Whisky Association has tight rules. You know, no one else has those tight rules. No, I mean, no one else has it.
No, I think Scotland should have those tight rules because it's such a big industry.
Agreed. That's what I'm saying.
It needs those tight rules. If that wants to stay as the Rolls Royce of whiskey, which let's be honest, it is.
So I've said it on your show before. Yeah. You run the same rules that have in Scotland and Ireland. Half of your brands don't exist. More than half of your brands don't exist. Your big distilleries, such as Bushmills, lose half their fucking products.
Yeah.
Now, come on. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, it's good for Scotland. It's maybe not good for everywhere else, but I like this. This could be good. Come back on Adrian's point.
I think it's one of those things. It's just a little bit more information that people think. But I do kind of agree with Connor. It is kind of a bit.
What's wrong with the Fifies? What's wrong with Fifies?
No, I think it's just one of those things. You just thought, fuck it, we'll just make up. That'll do. Give that to Bob down in the apartment there. He can do that. We're busy doing other shit. Here we go. That's all right. Got Chat GPT to do the label. That's okay. Dead on. Bang it on. I'll do rightly. You know, the way the Japanese will look at it, with the best will in the world, the way the Japanese will look at it, it's only going to them fucking dickheads over there. Anyway, just stamp it on us. We're happy enough. We don't give a shit. Send it over to them.
Well, look, I mean, like, you know, Japan has its own issues just now in terms of it doesn't have enough product, you know, to ice its exporting, import, you know, its own market. The demand's really high, but for exporting, it doesn't have the product to export at the moment. You know, it doesn't have enough of it. I just come back on Adrian's point. I think, like, he made the point about Van Damme selling in Asia. Probably. Again, look, one more thing on people like that. They will have their own markets. They will have their own. Someone like Van Damme, again, will have his own following. There'll be even if you had a 1% of Van Damme's following wanting to buy his whiskey.
Yeah.
I thought, do you know what? That was a good one. So let's go look at Dumville's for a second. I thought that when they did the video game recently, didn't they?
Oh yeah,
Was it?
Island of Death or something, Zombie Island or something, whatever it was, something like that. Anyway,
right. And look, they did that, and here, everyone who played that game bought the fucking whiskey. Man, smart. Now that wasn't necessarily a direct, famous person, but it was something to do, where they capture a different audience. That's
yeah.
really
And
important.
when you take it that the Sexton is the official whiskey of the Walking Dead TV show.
Yeah.
I mean that Walking Dead's an enormous franchise. You get your name stuck in the front of it. Yeah, I mean that's all of that's fair enough. And I mean the celebrity stuff. You have all of that exposure coming along, and that's all perfect because there's not much difference between a celebrity launching a whiskey, their whiskey, and you just paying them to do an advert. Like Glenmorangie have got Harrison Ford to dress up in a kilt. I mean,
It
it's
looks good,
pretty
doesn't it?
much exactly the same thing. But whenever it's somebody turning around and saying, I've always wanted a whiskey," Van Damme saying, "Oh, I've always wanted an Irish whiskey." Okay, you just know it's a bit like Graham McDowell and his the Grey Coast or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Come on.
Again, I think we're always going to differ on this because I'm one that just says get if you want to sell whiskey, find different ways to sell it. If you can target a new market, do it. I mean, and we will talk about our festival in a second, but the biggest thing about our whiskey festival is that we try and attract new whiskey drinkers because, I mean, no offense, me and you drink whiskey, but I'd like my next door neighbours. I'd like Liam and Stephen and. I want these guys to drink whiskey because I've already converted the ones next door. Michelle and Tom are fucking mad into whiskey, right? But if I can convert the next door neighbours, to come along and try whiskey, it's about and those brands will understand that they have to target new markets. So that that the Ghostbusters tonight, they'll target a different market. The rave people will come down to Titanic and they'll drink their stuff. They'll probably a couple of them might fall into the love of it. That's interesting. That to me where it's at, not mine.
Yeah. No, as I say, it's all kind of funny times, and they do. I love people doing new things. That's why I kind of like all the Ghostbustery stuff. I just thought it was funny, but I like all the art stuff down at Titanic and all that kind of stuff's all kind of cool. Celebrity whiskies, it's pretty much the same as any endorsement. I just wish they didn't come out with "Oh no, I've drank whiskey all my life." When 2 weeks ago they were telling you they were a vegan or something, come on, that's.
I'm in Clula drives and drinks whiskey every day.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk about your festival because that's what we're an hour and 20 minutes Sunday or whatever it is, and we haven't even we've talked a bit about your festival. Right, it's only about 2 weeks till it all kicks off, isn't it?
Yeah, it's less than 3 weeks now, so yeah, less than 3 weeks to go, and yeah, I mean. 100 events, 100 or plus 100 events. But look, it's we're trying to keep it the same as the same kind of model as it was the year before and the year before that. I've got a little code for your audiences as well. So just in case anyone's listening to this, and I don't know if you can write it up on screen for me, but you have a little discount code for everyone listening tonight. So it will be called. Because I wrote it down earlier and put it onto the thing. So it's Irish Review, I think. Well, can I do this? Will I lose you if I do this for a second?
I thought so. Go ahead.
Let me see if I can do something. I maybe will lose you. 2 seconds. I don't want to. No, do you know what? I don't want to lose you. Because I wrote it down on my computer.
Just type it in and then I can retype it if you send me it in the private chat, Paul.
Yeah, I want to find it on my screen. 2 seconds. I think I'm on the screen that I want to look at, which means I can't look at it. But I will. I'll type it in, or I'll find it and I'll type it to you. But I believe it was Irish Review. No, not Irish Review because it's Irish Whiskey Review. So it's Whiskey Review.
Mm-hmm.
Whiskey Review is your code. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
and it'll give you 30% off your products.
There you go.
So it's whiskey with an E, sorry, and the word review, all in capitals, whiskey review. Yep, that's it. Well, it doesn't need to be in capitals, it can just be that as is, that's dead on. That's your code if you want to use it. Now it'll only be for people who are on here, and it'll only last for the rest of this week, and it'll run out. But there you go. Okay. So
Excellent.
get that out the road. Whiskey review.
Now I'm working away for you. I'm doing
You are.
tours again. Taking people out around the streets of Belfast.
Mhm.
You have Connor doing tours.
Yeah.
You have, I mean, as always, you've got an absolute mountain of stuff. Dungeons and Dragons, as you said earlier on. What else is there? I mean, because
It's easy to run through it. I mean, look, each part of the day has a different theme, So those earlier events between 12 and 3, they're easier events, so not as much alcohol. So some of those walking tours, some of the experience-led tours start a little bit later. But you've got straight up whiskey tastings. We've got Ardara. You mentioned Ardara. We have a private screening of their new film, which is making its way around the film circuit just now, short film circuit. So this will be the third time it's been shown, first time in Northern Ireland. We'll get to do that. You'll get to taste Ardara. So you know what I mean? Don't think you don't have to buy a bottle of it, so you get to taste it. Lots of food
and
pairing.
it's awesome. Let's just
Yeah.
be honest, it's awesome.
It is awesome, and 100%. And I'm buzzing that they're wanting to come here and show their film off. So it's a short film, and it's about it's about the process of them creating Ardara. Every day really in the festival we've got a distillery day, or we're out to distillery. So we're out to Ecklandville, we're out to Copeland, Shortcross, Hinch, Titanic, McConnell's. We're doing a trip up to the Harbour View Hotel,
Yep.
Arnlock, where they're bringing over Bruichladdich. Buzzing for that, know what I mean? So they're really good. This is the first time in the 7 years that we've managed to get as many distilleries doing their distillery days. So this is really, for me, is really important. We get the chance to take people from the city. You go out on a bus trip. You're out there for 3 or 4 hours at the distillery or at the hotel, and you're getting to do, you're getting to do a tour. You're getting to get some fabulous food. You're getting to do some tastings, and some of them will put on some entertainment. But the price, I think, is just super value for money.
Oh, it is.
Like super value for money. They're all less than 55 quid a ticket. They're super. And
I mean, your day passes.
Yeah, day passes are £100, and you get 4 events for that during the day.
I mean, that's a full day's entertainment and
Yeah.
drinks
and
for
you'll
£100.
You'll get fed, because most of the every event between 6 and 9 is a food event.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll get to go to neighborhood cafe and do some really interesting collaborations there, or you'll get to do some fine dining at Waterman or Edo, or we're doing stuff with Johnny Stevenson. We're doing some really cool stuff. I want to say some of those food collaborations are really, really interesting.
Yeah.
That's just because the chefs put so much of an effort into making really good food. And they're using the whiskies, and they're putting the whiskies into the meals. Yeah, interesting stuff. Cigar night, so cigar and whiskey tasting. There's lots of art events. So we've got a one-woman show called Whiskey Wars. We've got a one-man show called The Smuggler, and that's a bartending show from New York. We've got our own the Belfast Whiskey Story, which is a musical. Well, I say it's musical. It's music and storytelling, whiskey drinking, and tasting food from Belfast. So there's a whole heap of those types of.
I hadn't heard you had. Whenever you said, "Oh, we've got a musical," I just had this vision of you and a whole pile of ones out sort of dancing. Like Starlight Express.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, musical's the wrong word, but it's got music, and it's got its own.
Yeah.
It's got its own score. In the music world, it's got its own score, so has its own music related to an adaptation of the Belfast story, which we've now created, the Belfast Whiskey Story. But a great opportunity. If you imagine being in a room and walking through the history of whiskey making over the last 300 years in Belfast, you'll get to taste the whiskies, but you also get to taste food from those periods as well, which is really important.
Yeah.
It's an immersive event. It's an immersive story event. Let me think. We sponsored 4 artists from different parts of the city. So we've commissioned 4 artists from across the city to create something for the festival, like a little piece of art. We've commissioned these guys, paid them to do it. We'll be showing that off in Grace O'Malley's up where the Points is in Belfast, Dublin Road. We've got, I think, some chocolate making. So chocolate making with Marty at Daisy's. We've got our food collaborations with O Donuts again. So we've got our 6 donuts. And here, I'm telling you, no word of a lie, I just finished off doing the tasting profile from them the other day. These donuts are unreal. Like, they're just getting better and better every year. So we've got these donuts. We've got Redbreast donut. We've got Lear PX donut. We've got
look at his face. Look at his wee fat face. Look at his wee chubby face. Look at how happy he is about donuts.
Well, what we've tried to do, we've tried to use our whiskey. So we've got 7 whiskey bottles this year for the festival. So 7 Belfast Whiskey Week bottles for the festival. 6 bottles and cans. Sorry, I should say the 2 sack is in cans. But the ones for the festival, we've got a Cologne. Thank you much for Brandon and Cologne. So we've got a Cologne bottling. We have an 1808 from Dunville's. We've got 2 bottles from Shortcross. Shortcross are doing a standard release and also a cast strength version. By the way, limited to 50 bottles, so that's super limited. The rest are all around about 100 to 150 bottles. We've got a Hinch bottle as well, and then we have a bottle from Belgrove and Transportation are doing a blend together. So
yeah, so I saw the 2 of them were doing a thing. It's great that they're coming over to you because it's.
Well, if you've never met Peter, if you've never had the chance to meet Peter Bignell before, now we've had Peter Bignell during online festivals when we were online for 2 years. So he did come on and we'd talk through the Belgrove product. Brendan mentions him quite a bit, as kind of inspiration for where he's at with Cologne.
Yeah.
But this guy's cool. I mean, he is cool. He's just cool as fuck. And he's met, he was on Gordon Ramsay's show, for example. Say Gordon Ramsay out at his distillery, cursing and giving it grief. But he is cool. And people like that, they see the value in the festival. They want to come along and have fun. And as much as presenting, he wants to go out and do different events. He wants to go and see people. So the likes of Redbreast, we have a Sensorium event again. This time it's Redbreast only. So it's a sensory event with Sensorium with the Spirit Circle, Redbreast only, which is pretty interesting. We've got a tattoo exhibition, tattoo art exhibition with Jiminson's. We've got We've got a Method Madness fine dining experience.
I forgot I had Belgrove sitting in here.
So good.
So here we go. Amalgamation.
No, but they're bringing it together. It's called the 7 Grains. 7 Grains blend that they've done together. Look, I think for me, I want to encourage people, if they've never come to the festival, come and experience it. Do you know, see that point? See if you come to the festival and you give it a whirl and you think it's shit, I understand. See if you come to the festival and it's great, you'll appreciate it even more. Right? And I'll appreciate you coming. I still feel that the majority of people now who attend our festival are still those in and around Belfast, in and around Northern Ireland. They're in that kind of space. We've got people travelling over from different countries. I'm loving that. Loving people coming from Europe. Loving people now coming from Scotland. That to me says a lot. If we can get Scottish people to come over and English people to come over, super. And again, people coming from the States and making an effort to come to the States, that says a lot about this festival and where it's at. I would love to see more people in the South coming up. There's no excuse now. I've now had this for many years, this excuse from the South. And all I'm going to say now is listen, this festival exists. There's festivals that are like this, but they're nothing in comparison size-wise. There's nothing in comparison in terms of what we actually do and how it's done. Those collaborations are extremely important. Lots of businesses involved in collaborating. We've got really good hotel accommodation partners with the Harrison, Room 2, with Roost as well. People can come and stay. It's pretty inexpensive to stay with us at the moment. Do you know what I mean? You can purchase rooms directly through us with our partners, which is perfectly grand. There's, codes if people want to do it themselves, they can book themselves. But, to come up from Dublin, you're 2 hours in the train.
Yeah.
And you can come up for 3 potentially 4 events, but definitely 3 events, and you could be back down on the train.
Yeah.
So there's not even the reason to come up and stay. You book your return fare, 17 quid. Actually, if you're from the south, it's less than that.
Seriously.
The buses run 24 hours and they're only
Buses
like
run 24 hours.
10 quid each way.
I'm not having this discussion anymore. People from the south have the opportunity. It's easy. I'm going to say this. People from the north travel all the way down to Dublin. Could you imagine that? They travel away from Dublin and go to Dublin Live.
And they go to Cork in
Could you
numbers.
imagine that all of us who from the north go all the way down to Cork? Could you imagine that as well?
Mhm.
But look, there's an opportunity there. I know there's some clubs in the south who are really keen and they're coming. So fair play to the societies, Cork Whisky Society, guys from Waterford, guys from Dundalk. These are people coming from their different whisky societies, and that's lovely to see.
Yeah.
We've got lots of people booked in, I would say, who... Oh, and that's one thing about this festival. Mass amount of people come to this festival who are not whiskey people in the whiskey scene,
Yeah.
enthusiasts or whiskey experts or anything like that. There's a lot of people here who come to this festival for multiple different reasons, and that's why it's set up like this, because it allows people to come here and experience lots of whiskey in different ways. Yeah. But if you are a purist, and there's a lot of purists in here, and I can see them, and they're lovely. I love the purists in here. And they're just like me. There's a lot of enthusiasts who just want to taste the best whiskey. Some of those whiskey tastings we have, you'll never taste anywhere else ever again. So we'll have whiskies that you'll never see. And I can guarantee that because, they don't exist. Or if they do exist, you don't have the money to buy them. And that's not being a dick. That's just because you don't. I don't. But, and,
you have plenty of money. Don't come out with that shit.
But we don't have... We don't have access to this liquid anymore.
Yeah.
No one has access to some of these liquids, and look, even the good stuff that we want to drink all the time is just not accessible for us at the moment. So, like, to have whiskey tastings that are available during the festival to taste whiskey in different ways, it's meeting different demographics. And again, if people want to come out here, what's that word? If people want to come here and get involved, there's no excuse now. There's just no. And by the way, I would say our events start at £15.
Yeah.
So if you want to come along to an event, it starts at 15 quid. The majority of events run between 15 quid and 50 quid.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I do. I haven't looked at this.
Well, I didn't read that message up there, but okay. Sorry, I don't have a chance to read it. Yeah.
Right. Day 2, you have to play golf. You need grass, clubs, bowls, and whiskey.
Yeah.
Right, fill us in. What the fuck's that all about?
All right. Well, look, there's some events that are play on the golf. So at the moment we have the Open, which will take place while our festival's on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've created a couple of events which are, I suppose, golf themed. And we've got like 3 events which are called the 19th hole. Well, you can understand why it's called the 19th hole. You finish the golf and then you come and join us for a barbecue. So it's a late night barbecue, 9 o'clock barbecue with whiskey cocktails, whiskey tasting, and some barbecue food. And what the fuck else do you want to do on a fucking night apart from get fucking drunk? I mean, having fucking barbecue food in a classy wee hotel called the Harrison. It's unreal. Other event, there's one called the Par 3, which I think is called the Little Birdie. And again, that's a Redbreast event. So anyone who's au fait with Redbreast understands that, it's a wee birdie, and birdie is a golf terminology. Par 5 is something about choose your woods carefully or choose your woods wisely. And that's a play on a couple of things. It was a play on the golf, choosing your woods out of your set.
Right, Russell Brand.
So that I'm always saying, so that's all about different types of woods or casks, woods that are being used for whiskey maturation. The one that you're talking about, which is looking at a bespoke menu, so it was looking at grass. What was it called? It was grass. You need grass, balls, and woods.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine that your dinner for that night will include potentially grass of some description or something to do with grass. Something to do with woods. You know what I mean? And well, I don't know if balls will be in there. But let's imagine that balls are there.
I'm going to say that's a dish I may skip.
Well, I don't think it's going to be testicles from a camel. but it might just be little, little profiteroles or little balls, aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah.
Thinking, something.
Aye.
But you've got to understand, like, some of those events, they are, they're geared towards the fact that we do have the Open, and it should be something to celebrate, and kind of
fucking absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and we do
Absolutely.
have, by the way, we do have golfers. There's a group of guys from, I don't know if I'm allowed to say. I won't say where they're from, but there's a group of guys that are coming from another country, a long, long way away, and they're coming here because they're sponsoring part of the golf thing. And they asked, could they come to 2 events? And we were like, of course you can. They're like, yeah, are you sure? And we're like, yeah, this is an open festival for anyone. Like, well, we want to be there. Thanks very much. So
Excellent.
And when you talk to people like that, and they're here for other reasons. People are in Belfast for tourism. They're here for a holiday. They will come to our festival. They do it every year. It's lovely to see. So yeah. So some of those events, that their titles might be a bit odd, but you'll not be disappointed. I can guarantee that.
Listen, you put on such a big event, and there's always problems in here and there and blah blah blah. And the one thing I've always said is you're fucking great ideas, man. You come up with so many weird and wonderful and wacky ideas that are off the wall. And you fill a full week full of a huge program with really, really good prices. I'll give you an idea. I was in a hotel 3 nights ago, and I went up to get a glass of wine. And the guy says, what do you want? I said, glass of Shiraz. All right, dead on. And he just come down and said, £24. This is, sorry, say that again, man. He said, 24 quid.
For the bottle?
No, for the fucking... And I was like, buddy, at no point did you fucking tell me that a glass of wine was 24 quid here. And you're doing a full day for 4 glasses of wine, essentially.
Yeah, I think.
Do you know what I mean?
And do you know what? We've actually got 3. Well, there's definitely 2, but there's 2 wine and whiskey pairings. They're really interesting. But I think there's another one which is looking at fortified wines. I think Cologne's doing something with fortified wines.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So there's some interesting tastings there. Look, do you know what? For me, I'm going to continue to say this. Like the festival for me is just an exploration continuously of what I would like to see as a consumer. I want it to be exciting. I want every event to stand out, to have its own space, to do its own thing, target a different audience, and make me want to do it. So if I looked at every event, if there's not an event in there, or there's an event I wouldn't put in. And I think that's interesting. When we were approached by the D&D guys, so the D&D guys, Jonathan runs his own D&D events. And he said to me, he says, Paul, look, I came to Whiskey Festival last year, loved it. He says, I'd like to do something this year, collaboration. And I says, well, what are you thinking? He says, well, I want to do a D&D event. Can we do it in a pub? And I thought to myself, look, I know D&D, right?
Yeah.
A fucking pub. No, let's make it big. We've got distilleries. What I mean? So the first thing I said was, we need to go and talk to McConnell's. Can we do it inside McConnell's? Went to approach them. They were like, yeah, that sounds great. And for that to be at 60 seats, so it's 10 tables, 6 people at each table. They're there for 5 hours. I mean, it's playing D&D is a 5-hour game.
Yeah.
So they've got a tour of the establishment. They've got a tasting. They've got some food. You know what I mean? And look, they're going to love themselves.
Oh, God, brilliant.
But every event has to be something I would do.
I mean,
and it has to be priced, by the way. It's something I would pay for.
But I mean, your prices are. I mean, you're not going to argue at any point with the price that you charge for £100 for a full day's entertainment.
Well, you go walk with you, right? You go, Marty. You go walk with you, right? This is what's going to happen. So we'll just walk this through with the people. Go walk with Marty. Marty will meet them all at room 2 because that's our new starting location.
Good job you told me that because I didn't know that.
It's our hotel partner. Well, you meet there because now you can walk from there. Everyone's, the guys, whoever's with you might not be Diogo.
It needs to be Diogo. I need Diogo because he's
whoever's with you, right? Is going to be there, and they're going to be carrying the stuff with you. But you're going to have your ice pops. Everyone's going to have a wavy ice whiskey ice pop. Buzzing. That's a good way to start a trip.
Absolutely.
You're going to get a donut. You're going to get a chocolate. You're going to get a whiskey chocolate. Do you know what I mean? And look, so 3 pieces of food on your trip, and you're going to get some whiskies. I mean, what the fuck else do you want?
Uh,
Plus, you've got Marty for like 3 hours who's going to talk shit.
Talk any shit you want to talk.
what I mean?
I'm prepared to talk.
I just wish I could go to try the donuts and the chocolate and the whiskey ice pop.
I'll
Mate,
I'll
I'm
I'll,
telling you,
I'll
whiskey
keep you a
ice pop's
donut.
on.
I'll steal a donut every day just for you, Justin.
All right,
I'll
thanks.
leave it off. I'll leave it off in Carrick on the way home.
All right.
I'll deprive one of my guests of donut. I'll say
There's bound to be one.
You'll have a choice of 2 donuts as well, because you'll have the choice between the Redbreast 12 donut or the PX Lear donut. And both are superb, like, because they're going to be in stock in the shop every day.
Every day.
And you're going to get the Belfast Whiskey Week bespoke chocolate from Daisy's as well. So, like, you know, like, I'm just saying, I think that, to me, that's crack. That's what it's about. Normally.
And honestly, I really like doing the festival for you and for various things. I like doing it because you get to meet just some of the people you meet. I'm not going to drop names, but there was a guy from Cork whose wife's from Yorkshire. You know who I mean, right?
Yeah.
And I remember it was the first time I ever met them. They came on the tour, and I mean they're the loveliest people in the world. But I had to get her to translate everything he said. All I heard, because he's from rural Cork. Here, no, here, no, wait a minute. And I thought there was some fucking division with my ears. And he kept speaking, and I hadn't a fucking clue what he said. And I was like, I'm not naming names, but her name begins with L. I says, could you translate for me here?
You might not listen.
No, maybe not, but she might be. And I was like, okay. I don't know. And just I met some guys that was over in Liverpool. I took a run up and see Dave there, up in the Red Lion. And you just get to meet some nice guys, nice people. You come over, they're interested in whiskey. Really looking forward to seeing Johnny again. Haven't seen him since last year. You know, so anybody who's interested in whiskey, if you're even remotely interested in whiskey, or you've got a free day, a free afternoon, go for a full day. But if you've got a free afternoon, or even just one of the events, come along. I mean, everybody is on here. I'd love to see you over.
Yeah, I think it just, you know what? I mean, the festival doesn't need millions and millions of participants. For it to work, it needs a good few participants at the events. And those events, in the main, are just like any other whiskey tasting event, insofar as that, 20 people is a good number. Like, you start to crowd rooms. It doesn't work. Everyone knows that in the whiskey industry. You start crowding rooms, it's fucking ridiculous. Now, some of those meals, we'll have 30, 40 people, and that's grand because it's a restaurant and we're in the space.
Oh yeah, but I mean they're geared up to cater for that.
You're doing a cocktail making session. There's only 15 people, because that's the space of the bar, and that's how many. We've got to think about how you make your drinks. You're making 3 cocktails, and you're drinking 3 cocktails. That takes a bit of time, and you can't have loads and loads of people in that space at one time. So it's each event is bespoke. It's designed, again, to work within its means. I would like to touch, just before we do wrap up, we have our Irish Whiskey Industry Awards out at the moment. Now, I'm going to just want to say a couple of things. First of all, this is the first year that we did this. We allowed nominations only from the industry. Previously, we allowed nominations to come from everywhere.
Yeah.
This year we trimmed it, and we said, look, actually, if we just take people surely from the industry to nominate, it'll be a little bit tighter, it'll be a little bit more, smoother. Well, that's grand. So we had a Google form that went out, and it came back with all the information. We just literally lifted all that information and threw onto another Google form and said, this is now the voting. And that's public. Now, some changes have been made. There's a couple of spell mistakes. People who obviously were putting in nominations couldn't spell people's names, nor could they decide what fucking brands they worked for. That was even So, sorry to one wee fella who didn't even work for the right brand, and we managed to find the right brand after the original brand went, he doesn't work for us, and we went, who the fuck does he work for? So we're now in a good space.
Yeah.
It doesn't close until next Wednesday. But what I would say is, so far, there's well over 2,000 votes. In most categories, that is translating to almost 700, 800 votes in each category.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And it's tight. There's no clear winner in any category at the moment. And it's really nice and tight. And there's a lot of people, interesting people I'd never heard of. And I had to then go away and go, who is this person? And I'm now coming across people, I'm going, okay, they're cool. That's what they do, right?
Yep.
I didn't know these people. So it's actually, I'm buzzing because so far this is the most amount of people we've had in this short space of time reply.
Mm-hmm.
We've had replies from all around the world, you know, and again, it's really nice to see. I'm loving that interaction. And that is, no one's cheating the system yet, we hope, because we can see the individual response.
Yeah.
And they're you know, they're marked off. Like, you can't be fucking voting for Marty 10 times. You can't do that. I suppose if you're really, you know, wanting to push yourself, I'm sure you could ask everyone and everyone and everyone. And
Turkish sweatshops. Turkish sweatshop. That's all you need.
but we've not had that yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I hope that we don't have that. And we will amend that if that's the case. If we see a lot of shite coming through, we'll see it. You know what I mean? But it's actually been really refreshing. And what's even better, okay? Because we have, I'm going to say this, we probably have people out there who maybe don't like what we do. They probably think what we do is fucking stupid, you know, mental, whatever it is. I get all that, and they probably don't like it. But lots of people do like it. And you know what's been really refreshing? Again, businesses I've never worked with or people I've never worked with messaging me saying, I'm really privileged to be nominated for this. I says, well, I didn't nominate you. This has come from the industry. Someone out there has gone, this person deserves recognition. So they're then again going, fuck me, that's even better. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not us. Like, I don't know these people. I don't know them. And I'm interested to see who they are. I've never heard some of the bars. Never heard of them in my life. Now I need to go, and my problem now is I probably need to go to some of these fucking bars, you know?
Yep.
I need to go down to some of those counties and go to some of the bars because I know some of them, but I don't know them all. And I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I'm liking that. That's a side of this festival which over the last 4 years, because we've been going for, this has only been going for 4 years. To me, that's growing. And it's, and again, in an industry just now where things are a little bit, I think, why would we not want to recognise people who are doing some really cool, cool stuff? David Owen is asking this question. It's come up twice. Evening, Jen, just stumbled upon the live stream. Got a question: is Hyde whiskey sourced from West Cork distillers? I didn't think it was West Cork.
I don't think it was West Cork either.
Not originally. No,
they don't disclose it, but I don't think it's West Cork.
Well, if it was West Cork, it was never West Cork originally.
No, I don't think it was West Cork.
Because it couldn't have been.
I thought it was Killie, as far as I was aware.
Yeah. Well, it's a good question, David, but I don't think originally Hyde whiskey could have been from West Cork because Hyde whiskey was out with age statements or with product which were doing older than anything coming from West Cork.
No, I thought it was Killie, and they had a whole range of stuff, and I never tried all of them. I mean, Hyde.
But you know what? I mean, look, it's one of those brands. We talk about brands.
Yeah.
Brand. You know what I mean? It's out there and it's doing its thing. I mean, it could be sourcing whiskey from absolutely everywhere now. You know what I mean? It could be GND, it could be X, Y, and Z. But I think it's all Killie, and then it's maybe changed.
I would have thought it was all Killie to start with, and I would agree with you. Probably they'll source it from wherever they can get it.
I mean, from now, like, there's a lot of brands sourcing from West Cork just now who previously didn't. You know what I mean? So
yeah, West Cork's a funny one. I always find it's weird because, they're big player in massive.
quickest distillation in the business, I believe, at one point. I don't know if that's changed, but someone told me it was the quickest distillation.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, I'd say the same thing to everybody that's starting doing a whiskey journey. You get kids who are students who don't have any fucking money. Let's be honest. They've no money, but they're trying to sort of go, oh well, we'll try and educate ourselves or whatever. And the first thing I say to them is go to Lidl. The whiskey's not great. It's not fucking great by any stretch of imagination. But you can go in and buy for about £22 a bottle.
Yeah.
A stout cask finished whiskey, a bourbon cask finished whiskey, and a sherry cask finished whiskey. It's not brilliant. I mean, Connor, he says it's shite. Well, it maybe is. But if you're a student and you don't have any fucking money, but you can go in and buy 3 different whiskies finished from the same distillery, 3 different casks for decent money. Go and do it. And you have a nip of it. Right, what's the difference between that, and that? And if you've only ever drank fucking cheap vodka, you really could be that bigly concerned. Get something cheap, but the same distillery. And what they do in Lidl, fair enough.
What's it like, Marty? I mean, because let's just because you work in the Friend at Hand ever so often, and I just want to know, in terms of those miniature packs that they have, yeah, got loads of miniature packs at the very front, and you've got miniatures in your lovely cabinet. I mean, are people buying them? Because that to me is the way in which you get to go ahead and try whiskies. Just like if you came to a whiskey club, just like if you did a whiskey tasting, it was in maybe in the friend at hand, or if you come to a whiskey festival, this is an opportunity for you to try whiskies without spending a shitload of money, and then you can go buy those bottles. Go off and buy a Red Best Builder if you like
The
it.
two of those miniatures that sell, easy sales. Number one, the friend at hand one, because you can only buy it in there.
Mm.
And the other one is the pot still one with the Barry croquet.
That's value for
Fantastic value for money.
yeah.
Now it's £45 for 4 miniatures. But whenever you set them down and you give it a very quick, easy to understand explanation, this is a Irish pot still whiskey, is PGA product, blah 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 blah. You can get Redbreast 12 everywhere. Everybody knows it. And then you start moving on, and then you say about the Barry croquet, and you go with that one, and they see it's £200, £300 bottle of whiskey, and they look at it and they're like, okay, we'll take that. So people are quite happy to spend £45 on a gift pack when it's easy to understand. It's the same as most things. I mean, all three of us that are in there, when we're there, we sell different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you have your favourites, and the
Yeah.
one that I love selling is Lakeview stuff, Morris O'Connell's Lakeview stuff, because it's got an interesting story.
Yeah, the single estate stuff. Yeah.
It's he grows his own barley. He doesn't have a distillery, so he ships it up to GND. They distill it and he brings it back and he ages it and so on and so forth. Lovely bottle, nice story. The whiskey, I think, is fantastic. I love the way he slowly cuts it, because I think it really, really enriches the actual mouthfeel of the whole thing. So you're giving people nice story, reasonable price, single estate stuff, and it's easy to sell. For me, it's easy to sell.
Yeah.
You go, whereas if you try and go the other way and you turn around and talk about, go with Waterford. You start talking about the Waterford thing, and it just takes 10 minutes, and after 30 seconds, people's eyes are going, I don't really know what the fuck you're talking about. To a whiskey nerd, oh yeah, oh no, that's good, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing in the shop, because you definitely. I mean, I know sometimes I'm in the shop and I'm probably there, the wrong time because guys are trying to sell stuff. But like, I know what's good and what's good value, and I can see that, particularly when you talk to someone. But there's easy sells. I mean, you're talking about easy sells out there, that speak for themselves really quickly. But no, I like this idea, like the advice to go to Lidl, the advice to go to and to buy, some inexpensive whiskies to start your journey on. I think the miniatures are a really good way. I genuinely do believe that if you have the chance just to sit down and taste different whiskies with friends, with different people, and in that social environment, that to me is a great start for anyone, and yeah, I'd like to see more people just even doing that. I mean, the whiskey clubs have been booming all over the place, certainly not just in this country, but across the world. Loads of wee whiskey clubs booming up all over the place. You know what I mean? People doing it. I know that the likes of the whiskey packs that are getting sent out by different people. We won't mention brands, but fair play to the guys that are continually doing that, and some people are really progressing that, and fair play to them. I like this. This is something interesting. When you look at what we did for the festival back in 2021, well, fuck me, we're pioneers. No offense to all these people that are doing stuff now. We're pioneers, getting boxes out to people, getting product out to people.
And the boxes were classy. I have to say, the boxes were superb.
100%. And look, it's always been and always will be my intention to do something in the future with things like that, because I believe that it is important to get small measures of whiskey from a distillery to someone, because that's how Belgrove got on lips of people. That's how Wolfburn, for example, say in Scotland, got on lips of people around the world. That's how. By the way, see, for lots of those tiny little distilleries that now have followings in other parts of the world, they kind of maybe forget where like lots of product went out and went through this festival, channeled through this festival to other people, because the comeback on that, the conversations that we have with people who are talking to us, and the message the website or the message Instagram or whatever they're doing, the message people, or just message me on my fucking phone, which I don't mind. It's people who were part of that process of getting those miniatures, and they've moved on. See those people 3 years ago, 4 years ago, they've moved on because they've moved on to buying big balls. They've moved on to like going to distilleries. They've moved on to travel and to come to Ireland to see things.
How come you're saying stuff that's literally just on my doorstep?
What? Because I was looking, I was in your house.
Wolfburn just sitting around the corner.
I was in your house already, just like, what the fuck? What can I talk about?
Honestly, it's like one of them Paul Daniels magic tricks. You just fucking say something, I've just happened to have it on hand. And literally, honestly, I didn't know you were going to say that. But no,
you do look
Wolfburn
like his
sitting around the
glamorous
corner.
assistant. You do look like her.
Yeah. Oh no. What interests you in the millionaire Paul OKane?
Fuck off. But look, no, it's I want to see more of that. I want to see more people engaging with the products, with the industry, with whiskey, and how do I do that? And look, this festival, I don't care. I'll harp on about it as long as I can. It's targeting new people. It's targeting women. It's targeting young people. It has so many events that speak to enthusiasts, that speak to the true whiskey drinkers. There's so many of them in there.
Yeah.
Once you find them, once you realise what they are, you can't say no to them because they're of great value and they're great whiskey experiences.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is that if you can get people, I find loads of people you're talking to them. I mean,
well, look, Adrian's name dropping. We don't do that in this fucking show.
By
the way, I don't talk about brands that don't talk about me. Oh, I'm only joking.
I put loads of people through all summer. I mean, I've 40 odd people today. I've a small group tomorrow of 40 Indians during the week, and so on. And I'll always bring up whiskey. I always bring it up because it's dead handy for me to talk about. But I bring it up, and I'll hear people saying, "No, I don't like whiskey," and say, "Oh no, come on in, and if you buy one, I'll get you to buy one, and then you'll like it." And they're like, "No, I won't. Come on in with me, and if you don't like it, I'll pay for it." How's that sound?
Love it.
You went to a bar, and you turn around and say, "Right, what do you actually drink?" "Oh, I drink wine." "Right, okay, you drink wine, so you like that." And you look for something and get them to buy one. Try that and see what you think. And you don't go for anything expensive for them. You go for something reasonable. And they try and they go, "That's quite nice. One more of us, one less of them." And that and they start to laugh. And suddenly they start going, "I actually quite like that." That's all you need. And the likes of your festival, all the stuff. I love the fact that you do the Dungeons and Dragons thing. I love that you're an ideas man, and I take my hat off to you for that. I mean, every year you're coming up with new stuff. Big festival, lots of stuff, loads of logistics, and I get to take the piss out of Diogo. What the fuck more do you want? What the fuck more do you want for a festival? Diogo last year, he was. He's so funny. He's such a. He's so funny.
And look, we've got a great look. We've got. I know you may laugh at Diogo, and fair play to.
He's funny. He is hilarious.
But,
he's just.
We've got a great team of people behind us. Like, there's a lot of people now doing a lot of pieces of work, and like some people, you might start to come across them. There's Johnny. Now there's Johnny Lloyd, and look, and fair play to him. He's doing a great amount of work with the design work. But we've got Johnny. And James, who you probably see a lot more of. We've got a whole group of people who are supporting the festival, be them volunteering or they're taking part in different events. There's a lot of people more than just me, and I think that's quite important. That it's it cannot. That I said from day one and back in 2019 that this festival is way bigger than me, because I believe, and I still believe now, that this festival is here for the long term. It doesn't just turn off. It's not going to take some downtime. It's not going to do that. Because, by the way, I have belief, and maybe some people out there might think about it mental. I believe that this whiskey industry is in its infancy, that it's at a point where it's tripping over. There's nothing wrong with that. It's having a couple of wee trips.
Oh, so
but it should, for the majority of that industry, be a longer term journey. Whiskey doesn't happen overnight. We know it takes 3 years. And in the main, whiskey takes, when you look at some of those brands that have managed to, steady themselves, it takes a lot longer than that. Yeah. So I'm here for 7 years today, and I hope to be here for a lot longer. And if it's not me, someone else is taking on that process, and I'm helping out.
I'm hoping it's Diogo. If I'm being honest, I hope Diogo takes over.
Look,
oh, he's brilliant.
Listen. listen, I'm here as a constant. I'm just saying, like, people have bought into it, and they're part of this process and the journey, and they can see what's happening, and that's reflective in every one of our partners this year, our hotel partners. So if it's Room 2 or Harrison, Roost, if it's our brands that we're working with, if it's all the local distilleries that we have, if it's the likes of Wavy Ice, or if it's Cathedral Quarter, Bid, or if it's like, likes of, Visit Belfast doing stuff, or if it's Tourism NI, if it's the Creationist, whoever all these people are, do you know what I mean? Whoever is getting behind the project believes in what it's doing, because they can see what it's doing, and they see the impact it can have in multiple different ways. A lot of people, and I'm going to say this, a lot of people will look at Belfast Whisky Week, particularly some of the guys in the brands will look at it and go, what is that? Is it just like a big event where you just run up and drink whiskey for one day? It's not that. It's 9 days. It's 100 events, and not just that, but it's not owned by a Diageo. It's not owned by a Pernod Ricard. It's not owned by Proximo. It's not owned by these people. It's a very much a business based in Belfast, for the businesses in Belfast, for the brands in Ireland particularly, but support whiskey brands from across the world and getting into Ireland. We've done that. We will do that, and we'll continue to do that. Do you know what I mean? Now we might, we might not have everything, and we might not be able to offer everything that other people do, but we do some really interesting shit. You know what I mean? And by the way, great people working within the festival, including yourself, Marty.
Thank you very much. Now, we've been here for 2 hours. We haven't been on for a couple of weeks because we've got work. I've work in the morning. So I'm gonna. I have to go. To Adrian's old hunt. I have to go pick. I think it's 6 people up at the Merchant tomorrow morning, and regale them with tales of daring do as we walk around Belfast. But listen, Paul. Again, the festival. What a huge amount of stuff. Everything from Dungeons and Dragons, golf, food. Me, I don't know, neighborhood cafe, everything, all the amount of stuff you have, and I love the fact that you get all these people to come over. Cassie coming over from Florida, she's coming over.
Yeah, she's doing at least she's doing the 2 tastings. She's doing bourbons and cream, which is American whiskies in neighborhood cafe. She's doing an event there where the cream will be other things, maybe like Irish coffees and cream buns and things like that. But it's themed like that. And she's also doing the cigar and whiskey tasting, which is, again, usually very, very good. I want to say it's very good whiskey. I mean, it's every one of those events, and they are, you've got to struggle going through it. I would say if you're coming to Belfast, do a distillery. Come to Belfast.
Well, if you haven't done any of the distilleries around Belfast, then
you have to. If you're coming to Belfast for the festival, do a distillery day.
Yeah.
Go to Copeland. Go to Shortcross. Oh my God, people need to go and see Shortcross.
Yeah.
If you haven't Shortcross, you've missed out on some of the greatest tasting whiskey that we have in this island. We've got Ecklandville, by the way, which is nearly sold out anyway. So if you haven't got a ticket for Eckland, go fuck yourself.
Hard luck.
But McConnell's Titanic are on your doorstep. They're
Hinge.
here. At Hinge. Oh my God, Hinge this year, because they're doing it in collaboration with their restaurant as well.
I haven't eaten this place yet. I haven't eaten here.
She's great. Gemma's
I haven't got up yet.
Super.
Justin, Justin, you haven't forced me to go to Era just yet.
I can't eat anything more.
You need to
you could. Trust me, Paul. That's a fucking lie. He could eat. He could always eat more. Justin.
You come to Belfast, you've got to go to a distillery. You come to Belfast, you've got to do a walking tour, because these are 2 things which are part and parcel of this festival. One, you get to walk around Belfast and understand Belfast, because a lot of people who come to Ireland, they don't even get Belfast. People who are from Ireland don't get Belfast. So there's the thing: come to Belfast, understand Belfast, get involved with Belfast. So it's a walking tour. It's seeing one of our distilleries. The rest of it is great crack. There's loads of cool shit going on. You know what I mean? There's speed tastings where we're doing 3 drams, and 3 drams in 3 minutes kind of thing, but it's not. It's quick tastings, and it's easy, and it's there's nothing too hard about it. But again, looking at good whiskies, talking about good stuff that we have here. Yes.
Now we're going to head on, because, as I say, I have to be in Belfast at a reasonable time, so I have to knock this in the head. Listen, Paul, a pleasure speaking to you, as always. At the festival, well, I'm part of it myself. I'm really looking forward to doing it as well. And I hope anybody who, even if you can't physically get here, tell people that you know over here and tell them to come. Tell people to come down. You don't even have to be whiskey heads. Just tell them you're going to have a bit of crack,
It's
a
good.
bit of a laugh.
Just when we finish here, Justin, where the fuck are you? Like, what's the background?
It's just Justin. Justin has made himself look as if he's somewhere.
It looks like
exotic.
it looks like he's somewhere where the sun hasn't fucking moved in like 2 hours.
I know. In Alpha Centauri, it takes so long to go round. It's the same for over 2
In Alpha
hours.
Centauri. In Alpha Centauri. No.
Thank you very much. Very humble to come on this show.
Man, you're always welcome. Always welcome. Tomorrow, by the way, the Sagaland 2 Cologne release is coming out.
Cologne Sagaland 2.
Get the Sagaland 2.
I'm at Sagaland 1, so I'm absolutely livid.
Hang on. I'll consult my diary to see what's going on here. This fucking thing. That's
amazing.
The other thing cost like 20 quid. But hopefully, if never it's all filled up, it'll be all pretty cool.
I'm a dickhead, right? Because I was talking to Brendan the day before they launched Sagaland 1, right? The day before. And I'm talking to Brendan, like, I'm definitely going to get we're talking about our stuff, right? It comes the next day, I totally forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
I get a wee message on my phone saying, oh, this is, blah, blah. I went on to buy it. None left.
Oh, God.
But you know what I did? I was a complete dick. I bought the fucking insert.
So is that it? You got the
I
insert?
have the insert, guys. No, I mean, I have the insert for number 1, but I just don't have any. Yeah.
Well, that's coming out tomorrow. Yeah. Creator H schools during the week. Is it Wednesday? Tuesday, Wednesday night, whatever it is. If you're not part of the Creator Project, you're missing.
If you haven't bought the book, disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, it's I bought a couple of them.
Disappointing.
Because it's a gift going forward. I've been genuinely amazing thing. So right, we have Creator Project Sagaland coming out tomorrow. You have the festival coming up in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
To get on it and get it sorted out. I'm for bed. Work in the morning.
Mine morning.
Right. Listen. Cheers, buddy. And listen. I wasn't well there recently, and you sent me loads of messages, and thanks very much. I was very touched. Very touched.
Oh, not a bore at all. You deserve all the love and attention. No, I mean, sure, of course. I'm just glad you're back on your feet.
I'm all right, 100%. But no, as I say,
can you imagine trying to do this show with just Justin? I'm doing my.
Can you imagine me just doing it with me and Justin? I hate to listen to him.
He knows I'm joking as well.
He knows really joking.
I actually think Paul did it with me once when you were away.
I think we might have done that.
I think you did when you were on the road. You're on the road next week, so no live show next week. Probably short cross.
Me and him's away. Me and him's both away. I'm away to where the fuck am I at next week? I can't mind. No,
London.
I'm in London next week. So yeah,
David the Englishman who's living in Germany right now. Good night.
Good night.
Listen, take care, guys.